I'm feeling a lot stronger and leaner with a lot more energy and drive.
So what's your secret?
Nugenix Total T.
I wish my husband used it.
He can. It's easy. Just send a text.
If you're a guy over 40, text to...
Here at the Prosecution Channel, we support a traditional American Christmas. If you support Christmas, smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Thanks.
Views are garbage. You're a liar. You're fake. You're weak.
Okay.
And you're ugly.
Okay. Do you think you know more than all of the medical consensus on this subject?
Yes.
Okay.
Hunter, what the fuck are you doing? Shouldn't the intro be a highlight reel? Why are you highlighting yourself cucking out, Hunter? This guy's insulting you. He's calling you a stupid fuck. And you respond just by saying, okay. Not a great sign if these are the highlights of your debate.
I do.
That's all I needed to know.
do.
You're such a virtue signaling little shill right now. Listen to yourself. Oh, I don't want anybody to harm themselves. I care about all peoples. But trans people can't have the medical surgery that's been shown to help. That's
yeah.
Oh, I know.
Hate
Listen,
you. I literally wish you were dead. I hate you.
I know you do, and I don't really care because when the facts hurt your feelings, you melt down into a crying little... Time to call up my self-professed biggest hater.
Here's how Hunter sets the stage. He's this rational, objective YouTube personality. In comparison, the guy he's debating is triggered and unreasonable. Yet Hunter immediately shreds any credibility. I mean, seriously, you're gonna play a laugh track over a photo of him holding a gun? Are you telling me this guy owns a firearm? He must be a moron. Only a redneck loser fuck would ever own a gun. So Hunter Avallone's debating this guy Beardson Beardly. He's apparently some sort of dlive streamer. I don't know if this is his YouTube channel, but it has a couple of videos of his. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that he's a groiper.
Okay, you call yourself my biggest hater. I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet where you said you were the world premiere Hunter Avallone biggest hater or something. So hit me up. Why? Why are you my biggest hater, buddy?
Well, so we do a little thing here on my channel. We've pretty much been farming you for content for months now.
Okay.
Because all of your videos are garbage.
Okay.
Total garbage.
Okay.
Your views are garbage. You're a liar. You're fake. You're weak.
Okay.
And you're ugly.
Okay.
And I've done, really, I think, a premier job in highlighting this to the world.
So let's pass over the stupid insults about me being ugly or anything, and let's actually get to the meat of it. So what do you think I'm wrong about?
Hunter, he called you garbage, a liar, fake, and ugly. Your response is, okay, but what do you think about my politics? How about a witty comeback? Why not call him an asshole? Instead, you just come across as some sort of weak loser. Okay, prediction time, folks. Beardson's just gonna make fun of him and insult him this entire debate. It'll be Naked 8 versus Kraut all over again.
I mean, where to begin? Where to begin? It's really astounding to watching your videos sometimes because you will often literally lie. Just for an example. For an example here, we watched your video. You did a video on masculinity about Candace Owens, right? That was pretty recent.
Yeah.
And you would play a clip of Candace Owens saying something, and then immediately lie about what she said.
What did I lie about? What did I lie about? I watched over that whole video and wrote up a response, so I'm not sure what I was lying about.
She said, and I quote, she would quote her tweet, and then you would say, oh, she's saying that I was just championing masculinity, when that's not even remotely what she said. You were disingenuous.
No. She framed what she had originally tweeted very dishonestly. And initially, she had tweeted about how masculinity is required for society to survive, and if you break away from my version of masculinity, then you are therefore detrimental to society. What she then claimed that she said was just, all I said was men are good for society. That's not what she said.
It's in the clip, man. You can watch the clip. You misquoted her. You play the clip, and she said the world needs real men. And then you spun it because you're a disingenuous hack and a liar and a coward.
I didn't spin anything. You can literally watch.
Yes, you did.
No, you can watch the clip.
We can watch it. We did. We did watch the clip. You're a fucking liar. You misquoted her.
Enough. Stop talking. I shall obtain said YouTube clip.
But Candace Owens' response took the cake. First, she tweeted, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. in the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men.
Looks like Hunter's right. He read the quote pretty much verbatim. I also verified on Candace Owens' Twitter this was indeed what she tweeted out.
And you do this all the time. You do this all the time. I remember I watched a video that you did on Black Lives Matter, and you cited this study that said that 93% of all Black Lives Matter rallies are peaceful.
Yeah.
But you refuse to look at the fact that in that study it says that there were over 200 violent protests.
Oh no, I know that. I know that 100%.
Why don't you talk about that in your video? You dishonest fucking hack.
Well, first of all, that's not dishonest. That's just actually a very honest interpretation of the facts, which is that the majority of BLM protests have in fact been peaceful.
Truth.
Ball's a ball, a strike's a strike. I said Hunter was right last time, and this time Beardson's 1000% correct. It's dishonest to say Black Lives Matter is peaceful. That's true even if 93% of the people who do show up are peaceful. If 7% of people who ate Chipotle's food died, would you say that Chipotle's food was safe? No fucking way would you.
Has it been peaceful? Have they not been peaceful? Is that a lie that the majority of BLM protests are peaceful?
Yeah, I do think that that's a lie, because I can go out in my front yard and hold up a sign that says Black Lives Matter, and it's like, wow, cool, another successful rally, another peaceful rally where nobody showed up.
What are you talking about? What
are you talking about?
There were studies. There was a study that was done that found the majority of BLM protests were peaceful. So how is that lying?
Based on what criteria?
Did you not read the study? Because I did.
I did. And so you should, if you read it,
wait.
You should be able to tell me.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now. They calculated destruction of property, violence, harm, anything like that into the violent protests, if you will.
Right.
And they separated that from the peaceful protests.
But what did they constitute as a protest? That's the interesting fact there. That's the one that you're omitting. What do they constitute as a protest?
I can pull up the study. I mean, I don't have it right
pull
off.
up.
All right.
Please. I would love to know. And also, like,
I've read this repeatedly on my on my thing. I've looked through all of it before. I can put it up on screen for the people watching here. So their report states that more than 2,400 locations reported peaceful protests, while fewer than 220 reported violent demonstrations.
When Hunter says study, he doesn't apparently mean research by a university. What he actually means is a report prepared by a left-wing globalist think tank that's funded by the governments of Germany and the Netherlands. Oh yeah, in the Organization for Migration. When Texit happens, I recommend Alex Jones personally conduct citizens' arrest of anyone who works at said organization in Austin. So let's talk about this study. If you think that this organization funded by Germany did any actual research, well, then you obviously didn't read the document. The study completely relies on news stories from the media for its conclusions. So if you believe the media is at all biased, this study is basically worthless. Additionally, the math doesn't even seem to be right. If you look at the numbers provided, it should be 89%, not 93%. Also, it appears that they separated protests by blocks in order to engineer the results they were looking for, which is exactly what you'd expect from a biased organization funded by foreign leftist governments.
The authors define violent demonstrations as including acts targeting other individuals, property, businesses, other rioting groups, or armed actors. And you know what? Although it's not calculated here in this study, there was another study too that found that a lot of the violence that initially started at these BLM protests were actually from people outside of the neighborhood and had nothing to do with BLM. Lastly, wait. Lastly, if I could just say this, you are making identical arguments to the people that were against MLK marching for civil rights. You are making identical. You are identical. No.
Yes, you're right. I am against MLK.
Oh, really?
Right.
You actually are?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I am against MLK.
MLK didn't help black people. They're significantly worse off today than when he was alive. Look, I'm not trying to be a dick. I think he had some good intentions. It was good that he ended segregation in the South. The Civil Rights Act, though, was a huge disaster. A massive step back for black people.
But you refuse to answer my question. What constitutes a protest? Not a violent protest, but what are they counting in that study as an actual protest? Because again, I could go out in my front yard with a fucking BLM sign and say, cool, another successful protest.
Well, this isn't them. It's their report states that 2,400 locations, those locations, reported peaceful protests. So, I mean, they tell me what's included as a violent demonstration, which is pretty accurate, I would say. Any kind of targeting individuals, property destruction, any of that kind of shit, that obviously is not a peaceful demonstration. But you can literally look at comics of people who were against MLK saying the exact same thing. Oh, it's nothing but violence. Oh, that's all they're doing is ruining the city and violence and all that crap.
Do you honestly think that over 200 violent protests... By the way, you've still not answered my question, what actually constitutes a peaceful protest?
I'm trying to read you what the study says. I'm only reading you what the study says, and I'm trying to find...
Right, and it doesn't say it. That's
no,
what I'm saying.
Well, no, you're
it's a bogus study.
You are being so fucking... No, you are being so fucking dishonest right now. This is absolutely embarrassing.
You're being dishonest.
This is embarrassing for you.
Okay, so does the report define protest? I read through it entirely. To double check, I controlled F'd and checked every time protest appears in the report. It does not define what a protest is. Beardson is absolutely correct.
They No, stop. Shut the fuck up. They constitute...
You shut the fuck up, you fucking no-chin
Listen,
pussy.
hey, stop.
Bad haircut. Listen to your
stop.
fucking wife, bitch.
I know.
Don't tell me to shut the fuck up.
I know.
I'll fucking take you in a ring and
I know you're mad.
One round.
I know.
Pussy.
I know you're mad. I know. And when the facts hurt...
Yeah.
I know. Listen.
I literally wish you were dead. I hate you.
I know you do, and I don't really care, because when the facts hurt your feelings, you melt down into a crying little pussy like what you're doing right now.
Oh, I'm not
now,
crying.
Listen,
This is pure
this
masculinity,
study...
and you wouldn't recognize it because you're a low-T bitch. How about you go to the doctor and get your fucking teeth checked? You can't even grow fucking facial hair, dude.
All right, I'm not really trying... All right, listen, truthfully, I'm not trying to have like a roast war with you here. I'm actually trying to debate this with you for a second.
I'm trying to have a roast war. Yeah,
Hunter, what are you doing? Whether it's your intention or not, this is blood sports. You can pretend like that's not what's going on, but it's what's happening. If you just try and debate politics, you're gonna look like a loser. If Beardson's going after you, you have to go after him.
They define what the violent demonstrations are, and that included acts targeting people, and then you're saying, well, they didn't say what constitutes a peaceful protest.
Yes, that's
obviously
when you're fucking adding up what a protest is, because you can pad those numbers very easily.
Oh my
you
god!
Dumb retard.
Hold on.
Obviously,
peaceful protests are the opposite of what they define as the violent demonstrations.
You just proved Beardson's point. You said that if it doesn't fit the definition of a violent protest, it must therefore be a peaceful protest. So if Beardson goes outside of his house and holds up a BLM sign, that's a peaceful protest. That's exactly what he said earlier.
You're so biased towards BLM that you think 220 you think 220 violent demonstrations somehow means that all of BLM is therefore terrible and violent?
What other group has over 200 violent protests and isn't designated a terrorist group?
Are you kidding me? I don't know, but I'm sure I could find
I
could find something.
No, you
hold
can't,
on. Even
it's
if
a fact, they're a fucking terrorist organization.
Well, that's a bullshit lie. But
how is it a lie when you literally just said you don't know? If you don't know, you can't say it's a lie. Beardson is right. No group that has done what BLM has done would be tolerated. Just look at the media's insane reaction to the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys haven't assassinated police officers. They haven't burned down buildings. They haven't looted stores. Hunter, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Even if they are more violent than previous groups, or even if 220 violent demonstrations is more so than any other group in recent history, that's irrelevant, because BLM was also the largest civil rights movement with tens of millions of Americans marching. So if you factor all that in and then look at how there was only less than 220 violent demonstrations, you look like the fucking retard here, because you're too stupid to read a study.
You cannot tell me. I read the study, and guess what? The study's fake as shit, because it does not tell you what constitutes or what falls in the definition of a protest. Because again, I could go out in my front fucking yard with a BLM sign. No, it's not.
No, it's not a lie. Just look at the report. You can see for yourself it doesn't include a definition of what constitutes a protest.
It does not tell you. It doesn't tell you in order to be defined as a protest, peaceful or violent, there must be at least this many participants. It must be in this.
Okay, so what you're doing? Hold on. What you're doing right now?
Definition of what a protest is.
Okay, so what you're doing right now is you are
get it out, you fucking stuttering pussy.
Okay. What you're doing right now is you are pivoting hardcore. Okay.
No, I'm not pivoting on anything. I've been remaining on the same fact for the past 10 minutes. I want you to tell me in that study
all you're doing,
what constitutes as a protest. Because again, I could go out in my front yard.
I am reading from the article, my dude. I don't know what they
I know.
they
That's your stick. All you do is read fucking Reddit, and you're like, oh, well, this must
isn't
be a
Reddit.
fact.
Nope, this isn't Reddit. This comes from Time Magazine. And again, this was a very in-depth study. It was a new report, actually.
Yeah, you're not even reading the actual report. It took me 2 seconds to find the actual report. How can you act like you know what the fuck you're talking about when all you've read is a news article? Seriously, my God. I've done many of these debate reviews. Unfucking believable.
Oh, if it's so
and it was
in-depth,
published by a Hold on.
If it's so in-depth, then why can't it tell you what constitutes a protest?
All right, I'm looking into the actual, like, full-on study here to try to find it. But I mean, obviously the peaceful protest is going to be the opposite, right? Of like how they obviously categorize violent protests.
Are you this stupid that you can't understand what I'm asking you?
No, I understand what you're saying. What you're what you're saying.
Another example.
What you're saying right now. What you're saying right now is because they don't categorize what peaceful protest is, even though they categorize very clearly what a violent demonstration is, that somehow means the data isn't good.
That's not what Beardson is saying. The flaw isn't that the study fails to define what a peaceful protest is. The problem is it fails to define what a protest is.
You don't have any.
You don't have.
Hold on. You don't have
to back up what a peaceful protest is. So
that's
you can pass
bullshit. The peaceful protest is. No, the peaceful protest is the opposite of what the authors defined as a violent demonstration.
How are you not getting this, man? Again, I could go out, I could start a fucking Facebook group and be like, hey, we're having a protest, don't actually fucking do anything. And these people in this study could be like, all right, cool, chalk one up for the good guys. That's a peaceful protest.
I understand. I understand what you mean. Yeah, but that's I understand that you are suggesting that it could be susceptible to like being easily manipulated, but that's just not what happened because this was.
How do you know that?
Because I'm reading the report, buddy.
That doesn't explain how you know that. This is embarrassing, Hunter. Holy shit.
The report states that more than 2,400 locations, it was these locations that reported the peaceful protests, not the actual study. So these locations would have been taking a gauge based on like, yeah, a group of people being there and lack of violence or a violent demonstration, which they categorize a violent demonstration as pretty clear cut. I mean, pretty clear cut example
exactly.
of targeting people.
Isn't it pretty funny?
So what do you think a peaceful protest is?
What do you mean? I would say, I don't know, I'm more than 100 people, I would say, or 50 people. I would at least, I'm not an expert on what a protest is. That's why I would like it clearly defined in that study, and they admit that, and that's what I'm telling you. You can so easily pad this study, but you're taking it as law. You trust this more than you trust the Bible. You trust this more than your own fucking political opinions, which seem to change every fucking year.
Okay, well, you're jumping all over the place right now. Yeah, I don't trust the Bible at all, and I don't know why anyone should. Second of all, this data is the only comprehensive data that is collected so far on BLM.
The data is news stories. Fucking news stories. You didn't gather shit. They Google searched news stories about BLM. They took it for granted that those news stories were true, which is stupid. If you believe the media is objective when reporting on things like BLM, you're a fucking idiot. They acted like news stories were data and cooked up this bullshit report.
Which is found that the majority have been peaceful. They had a very, very accurate representation of what they are counting as a violent demonstration. They compared these things and they found that the majority of them were peaceful. What you're doing right now, what you're doing right now,
telling you what a peaceful protest is, Hunter.
Dude, how are you not getting this? Do you think they counted one guy standing outside with a sign that said BLM is a peaceful protest?
I don't know. Why? Maybe they did. Who fucking knows? They won't tell you in that study.
Yes, they do.
They won't tell you.
The location.
No, they don't.
Yes, the report came from locations.
The media has repeatedly reported that protests were peaceful even when there was violence. Anyone who watches any right-wing media would be familiar with this. If you agree that the media is at all biased in favor of BLM, then this report is totally unreliable.
Do you think that location is filing into this report or whatever and saying, hey, there was one guy over here holding a BLM sign. I guess that's a protest.
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up. No,
shut the fuck up.
You're such a delusional little pussy ass bitch. Listen to you right now.
Are you kidding me?
No, listen to you right now.
Have you seen your fucking
listen to you right now?
You look like the embodiment of fucking Play-Doh. I can knock you out in one fucking round, dude.
All right. Yeah. I got you.
You want to sit there and call me a fucking pussy?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Because you write off data because you write off data and studies that hurt your feelings.
I don't know why Beardson is so angry. That being said, his criticisms of this report are totally totally legit. One thing I've learned reviewing debates is these studies often have giant problems. People like to act like studies are the end-all be-all of evidence. The reality is studies are rarely useful. Outside of chemistry and physics, it's very difficult to create a study that produces reliable results.
I'm not writing it. I'm writing it off because they won't fucking clearly define it. You're the one that fucking
They do clearly define it, you fucking retard.
Oh, it's a fucking study, guys. Oh, go. Guys, science says go. That's you. You do.
Yeah.
My dude.
I'm a true. Hey, listen. I trust science. I'm a true American. Okay.
Are you joking me? Does just believing the media constitute science now? So you can just collect news articles and write a report, and now that's science. Here's my question, Hunter. How did this study employ the scientific method? You won't be able to answer that. The reason is that it didn't. No actual science was done.
Well, you can't even grow fucking facial hair.
Hey,
you can't even grow fucking
I'm a
facial
true
hair.
American. Yo, bro. I'm a true.
No, you're not a true American.
I'm a true American. That's why I believe in science. Yeah. You know,
No,
part of
you're
how
not a
America
true
was founded
American.
on the Enlightenment.
Yeah,
The
you know how
concept of
America was founded by
liberty.
fighting and through revolution, not through
Yeah, do you know-
pussy-ass
wait,
weak
wait.
bitches like you
Hold up.
who get their fucking political opinions fed to you by pedophiles and your wife.
Okay.
That's who you
are. All right.
Yeah, you're so fucking demoralized that you lost a debate and then you got fucking sidestepped by your fucking wife who made you fucking do what you're doing right now. You are such a demoralized little pussy.
Yep. You got me, bro.
I beg you to go to a doctor, get a fucking testosterone check, get a fucking shot in your ass, and boost that shit up. You might be able to grow facial hair after that.
Okay, once you're done with all that, I'd like to read you this.
Hunter, why aren't you standing up for yourself? You're getting railroaded here, bud. It's embarrassing. Instead of trying to change the subject, maybe, I don't know, defend yourself, it's pathetic.
So you talk about you talk about the American Revolution. The American Revolution was literally motivated because of ideas from the Enlightenment, which was liberty, the pursuit of happiness, everyone has individual rights, you know, things that you're openly against, I assume, when it comes to trans people and gay people.
Yeah, I'm sure the founding fathers were like, you know what? Let's found this country so a bunch of homos can fuck each other in the ass. That's what we want.
Yeah, it's called freedom. Yeah, liberty.
No, you know, this
I actually think so.
This country was founded on Christianity. In God we trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no,
what it was
actually,
founded
wait,
on.
what? The reason hold on, you obviously haven't ever done any kind of studying in history. You realize the only reason, like the reason that the Pilgrims originally came to America was to get away from religious oppression. Even if it wasn't founded on certain Christian ideas, it's not a requirement to be an American.
Not true. You have to believe in God to be an American. The Declaration of Independence says our rights come from God. If God doesn't exist, America doesn't exist. Now, you could say that you don't have to be a Christian to be an American. I would agree with that. Several founding fathers were deists, but you can't really be American and be an atheist. If the individual rights are fake, then America's built on a lie.
And again, America was founded on ideas from the Enlightenment, which are liberal ideas like the belief in science and the belief in personal liberty and the pursuit of happiness. These are American ideals that I openly advocate for and that you openly advocate for against. You advocate against these things.
You openly advocate for rampant hedonism, which is what's destroying this society to begin with. That's what you advocate for. Because again, you're weak, you're demoralized, and
you're not making any argument.
Yeah.
No, you're not making any arguments right now. All you're doing is just
I'm not. Yeah, you're right. I'm not making an argument.
All right, good. I'm glad you
acknowledge
that.
Fucking insult you. That's all I'm here for.
All right, so you want to talk?
Hate you.
I understand that you hate me, buddy, but what I'm trying to do here is at least have a discussion with you. So maybe we could try to do that. You think?
Hunter, he just said that he's here to insult you. You shouldn't invite him to have further discussion. How stupid are you? This is honestly the most pathetic thing I've watched on YouTube. It's actually worse than Naked Ape versus Kraut.
You think that's possible?
Why do you talk like a fucking 12-year-old girl? You think maybe? Yikes,
yeah, you think maybe you could do that? Yikes, Beardson. Oh my god. Like, yeah, does this trigger you right now? Does a little funny voice trigger you right now?
Dude, this is not 2016. This is not fucking Gamergate's dead, dude. We don't fucking talk like that anymore.
I don't know. You sure sound.
Content is trapped in a fucking time machine.
I don't know, bro. You sound pretty fucking triggered right now. I mean,
triggered, bro. You fucking snowflake, SJW. Please, for the love of God, get a new bit, man. Please. We're all.
You know what's funny is it really. Hold on, wait, because it really shows.
Down because you're fucking stuck in 2016. You talk like a
wait.
I thought my.
You
talk like 2016-year-old shoe on head.
Wait, I thought my views were down because I'm a grifter that's doing all this for money and fame.
Yeah. That's also true. It's kind of a double whammy. It's a pincer attack on your channel. You've been totally demoralized. Do you actually
think that I'm doing what I'm doing for views? Do you really think it's a grift?
No, I don't think it's a grift. No, absolutely not. Because otherwise it'd probably be working. No, I think you're just totally demoralized and you have to do this because your wife told you to.
Now seems like a good time to give a shout out to my wife. Prior to Trump, we were both Democrats. When Trump started talking about America first, we both immediately got on board. If you guys think I'm far right, you should talk to my wife sometime. The most red-pilled woman in America, perhaps the world. I'd have her come on this channel sometime, but we'd get banned immediately due to calls for violence. I can't imagine living life married to some feminazi harpy. Look at how easily Beardson bullies Hunter. Imagine how Hunter's relationship is with his own wife.
Okay, I mean, I can disprove that, like, if you're actually interested in hearing a rebuttal to that claim.
Please, please.
Yeah, go look at my YouTube channel. I mean, I started dating my now wife way back in the beginning of 2018. My content was super right-wing. Even after my debate with Vosh, my content continued to be right-wing, and it wasn't until April of this year that I announced I was leaving the right. So,
no, dude,
your idea that
you've been pivoting for like 2 or 3 years now, man. You've been doing nothing but, you know what? I'm right-wing, but I love trannies. Yeah, dude, you've been on this fucking down.
Yeah, actually, it makes a lot more sense actually to support gay marriage as a conservative anyway.
Okay, nice pivot there to gay marriage. Either way, none of this stuff concerning fringe sexualities is remotely conservative. The American tradition is Christian virtue. Even deist founding fathers like Benjamin Franklin believed in the importance of virtue. Sexuality is a hedonistic distraction from the important things in life. Now, you could say that's also true of heterosexuality, and I'd agree. Nothing could be less conservative than building an identity around your sexuality.
No, it does not.
Well,
no,
if you actually, yeah.
What are you conserving? What are you conserving by gay marriage?
The founding values of this country. No. First of all, no, it's not. And yes, second of all,
you cannot fucking procreate as 2 men or 2 women. I'm sorry, you can't.
You can adopt though.
But it's not. Do you know what genetics are, Hunter?
Wait, hold on. Quick
do you
question.
know what genetics
are?
I
know what genetics are. I know we're probably going to go get in a conversation about race and
Hunter
IQ soon here.
No, Hunter. So when a man loves a woman, they have sex.
So what if a man is? Wait. What if a woman doesn't have a? What if a woman has no womb? What if the woman doesn't have a womb? Is she not a woman?
Sucks for her.
Are they not? Are they not a real married couple?
No, yeah, they totally are.
But they can't procreate.
So what? It's
yeah, but whoa, because you just said gay people are invalid because you just said gay people are invalid because they can't procreate, right? Genetic dead end.
They're invalid. I'm just saying it's not conservative.
I personally prefer my argument based on tradition. Beardson's argument appealing the biology and conserving things is not as good in my opinion. But okay, let's keep watching.
How so? Is conservatism all about procreating? I thought it was about, at least in my mind, it would be about conserving the actual values that this country was founded on. Things that ideas.
So do you think butt fucking was what this country was founded on? Do you think the
no, but I think that
do you think the founding fathers were here today? They'd be like, yes, I support gay marriage.
I'm not. So? I'm not sure. I can't speak for the founding fathers. However, I will say that people being able. Hold on, people being able
on this, and they're not. They're not okay with it.
People. Okay, yeah. Do you think they were okay with? Do you think they were okay with black people having the same rights as white people?
I don't think so. I mean,
do you think we should go back to that?
Again, Beardson's right. Sodomy was a crime at the time of the founding. None of the founding fathers would have agreed with it. I'd say both of them are wrong about blacks. I'd say a majority of the founding fathers felt black people should have the same rights as whites. In fact, the US Constitution granted black people the same rights as whites if they weren't slaves. Many of the founding fathers hated slavery. Since the economy of the South depended on it though, they had no choice. Taking a hard line at slavery around the time of the founding would have fractured the country, just like it ended up doing eventually anyways. We would have been invaded by a European power and lost our independence. So after this, there's a long discussion about whether transgendered people are mentally ill. I don't have much commentary to add to this. If you're a gay man who's very effeminate, I'd say you'd have a rational reason why you'd want to transition, assuming you could pull it off. I can kind of understand that. What I don't understand is why would someone identify themselves as a transgendered woman? If you want to be a woman, why would you call attention to the fact that you are in fact not a woman?
Beardson, wait, you realize that white males account for the majority of suicides in this country. Do you think white male is a mental illness?
No, we're the fucking majority of the whole country. So yeah, there's like what 0.4% of trans people in the country.
No. Even when you adjust for that, white males account for the most amount of suicides. So do you think that white male is a mental illness?
I think that white males are like being shit on all throughout this country. I mean, we have to go fight all the fucking wars for everybody else.
Okay, so social aspects. Wait. So social aspects are contributing to the suicidality of white men?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so you realize there are also studies that show that the social treatment of trans people contributes to their suicidality, right? And actually, studies have even shown that when you are now have a proper support group and are not being shit on for being trans, your suicide rate goes down. Combine that with a operation as you get older, your gender dysphoria will be alleviated.
This makes no sense. If transgender people haven't transitioned, how can the societal treatment of trans people contribute to their suicide rate? They can't be ill-treated by society for being transgendered before they become transgendered. That doesn't make any sense.
And it continues to go down, and trans people continue to live better lives. So it sounds to me, hold on, wait, stop, because it sounds to me, it sounds to me, yeah, it sounds to me like you're perfectly fine with life-altering surgeries, physical altering surgeries, if it's for the sake of saving lives, and you're perfectly fine admitting that social stigma can contribute to the suicidality of a group of people. So, literally, you are shooting yourself in the foot. That argument proves my point for trans people 10 times more than you could ever prove it for white men.
No,
I have multiple studies.
People. I don't care if they.
I know exactly. Okay, well, see, that's good. At least you're honest. At least you're
crazy.
Okay, good. So at least
people, they're fucking crazy.
At least you're honest, though.
Stab you in the back, they will fucking.
At least you're honest.
Your whole life.
I'm really glad that you're. I'm glad that you're
honest. I don't like trans people.
Yeah. So you're not making any arguments. Literally, like all your arguments are rooted in you not liking trans people, right? So you don't really.
Crazy.
Yeah, so you don't care.
I wish they would get better. I mean, I wish they would get better. I do. I don't want anybody to fucking kill themselves. I don't want anybody to.
Right, but that's only why you shit on trans people and then want to deny them the surgery that's been medically proven to help them not kill themselves. You're such a virtue signaling little fucking shill right now. Listen to yourself. Oh, I don't want anybody to harm themselves. I care about all peoples. But trans people can't have the medical surgery that's been shown to help.
Hunter says there's a survey that says this. I don't have any information on the survey to know if that's true or not. Even if I did, likely bullshit. In today's society, people can become transgendered. That's just a fact. If you went to people who wanted to transition and told them to fuck off, they'd probably be unhappy about it. A better question would be, were people happier back before all this gay and transgender stuff existed? If so, by Hunter's own reasoning, we'd be better off abandoning it for the welfare of our society.
This is like denying a child Hold on, this is like denying a child chemotherapy? This is like denying a child chemotherapy. Yes, it is!
Dude. You're so bad at metaphor. You have the worst metaphors.
This is like denying a child chemotherapy because it can contribute to gene damage.
No, it's not. You mean to tell me? You mean to tell me, Hunter? Let's like really examine this fucking metaphor here, because this is fucking crazy. This is a dumb fucking metaphor. And you have the worst metaphors about. Like, I've watched all your videos. They're all just terrible metaphors.
Get to the point, buddy.
You mean to tell me that chemotherapy is the equivalent of fucking chopping your dick off so that way you could prance around in a fucking dress? That's what you're telling me here. That's what you're fucking telling me here.
No, actually, it's funny. It's so funny that you came into this
fucking chopping your dick off because you have a weird sexual fetish. Because that's what it is. It's a sexual fetish.
Okay, well, I mean, it's just really funny that like you're just making shit up.
Beardson's right. These things just aren't comparable, which is why we see Hunter pivot again.
No, I'm not. That's a fact. It's a sexual fetish, man. That's what it is.
Okay, well, you can say whatever you want, but I'm going to trust what the years upon years upon years of medical research says versus some random streamer guy who says that it's wrong.
Appeal to authority fallacy. I could make the exact same argument. For almost all history, the consensus of people running our society was that sodomy was immoral and unlawful. Since our society has been successful and we've become powerful, there must be some wisdom to that point of view.
And provided. I know who's right. I know who's right. I'm right.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, because you see, your arguments, as you've already admitted, are based on feelings. You don't care about truth. You don't care about facts. You don't care about science.
I actually have feelings.
You care about...
You have no feelings because you're a low testosterone beta male and you can't
care about
emote them.
I know. You have. I would argue that you have a little too. I would argue that you have a little too many feelings, because instead of arguing from a perspective of facts and data, facts and logic, instead you're arguing that trans people are gross, so that therefore they're bad.
Okay, yes, he's making a moral argument. Sanctity is a moral foundation. Hunter, you need to read Height. You don't understand politics. Conservatives oppose fringe sexualities for philosophical and moral reasons. You can't just dismiss those ideas because they're not based in science.
No, I would say that most questions are probably unanswerable by science. Everything that exists in the realms of like epistemology, I would say, is unanswerable by science, and science is built on like a whole bunch of presuppositions that are completely outside the boundaries of science.
Moral foundations aren't baseless emotivism. They're a reflection of our own humanity based off millions of years of group evolution.
I mean, it's not just the grossness. I mean, they're also just like, I mean, they're really crazy. Like, if you ever talked to any, do you have any trans friends? Do you have trans
Have you ever,
friends?
dude? Have you ever talked to a white person? Oh my god, they're so fucking crazy. I read
No,
like,
like all my friends are white.
oh my god, I looked up like 5 different articles about Florida men
No, answer
fucking
the question.
alligators. It's
Do you
so
have
gross.
do you have any trans friends?
No.
Yeah, exactly. You have absolutely. This is exactly what. Like,
So
this is,
so
this is-
why do you wait?
this is
Now you
one
need
of
to have,
those-
wait. Now
this
you
is
need
one
to
of
have
those
trans
instances of, like, a
friends to
liberal-
understand shit.
This is
What?
one of those instances of a like a liberal like living in a gated community and never having to actually interact with black people. So they're like, yeah, black people, and then they get mugged and robbed, and then they instantly turn racist. Like this is what this is.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
You've
No,
never
that's
actually
not
interacted
even
with these people
bullshit
before.
anyway.
You've never actually interacted with these
Well,
people.
no.
You have no
I've-
idea what they're actually
That's
like
not true.
in real life.
I've interacted with plenty of trans people. I just don't have a lot of trans friends, mostly because I have a family. I don't really have a lot of friends anywhere. I mainly
Well, you
just
probably
stick to
have a
my.
lot of friends because nobody really likes you because your content sucks and you're just a bitch
Yeah.
You're a bitch. Yo, okay.
and you're a liar.
I mean, I've provided data this entire discussion, and you've said nothing but trans people are gross.
I've said a lot more than that. I've called you a pussy. I've called
Also,
you a bitch.
that's right.
I've told you to go to a doctor to get your testosterone checked because your T levels are obviously low. I mean, have you ever like wondered why you can't grow facial hair?
Yeah,
Have you ever like
you're
thought
so.
about it?
It's so sad, man.
Don't,
Because
no, don't deflect. Don't deflect. Have you ever like actually like examined why you can't grow facial hair?
I can.
Like
I
there may
did.
be like a. No, you didn't, bro.
Yes, I
Come on,
did.
don't go. That was like the fucking Pedro mustache from Napoleon.
Whatever.
Dynamite.
Like,
That
is
was not
this
facial hair,
real?
Dude.
Dude,
That was not
you're
facial hair.
so
I'm
entrenched in
telling
your
you,
dumb fuck
I'm telling you,
ideas.
please go. This is for your own good. Honestly, go to a doctor and get your testosterone levels checked. For the love of God, I'm telling you, there's something wrong with your T levels.
Okay, look at this picture of Beardson. You can tell immediately he has no problem growing a beard. In fact, it appears he's named after the fact that he has a beard. This is Hunter Avallone. We've got this pretty pathetic goatee. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like pubes. Also, was Hunter born without biceps? I think Beardson may actually be on to something here.
All right. So, do you have any other arguments to make, or is that it?
I mean, what else do you want to talk about? What other subject?
I don't know.
think
You
we-
said you
we should
disagree.
talk
You
about?
said you disagree with me on like everything, and so far everything we've talked about, I have scores of data to prove my point, and you have your feelings and some insults. So I don't know.
Are you a gamer?
do you
Are you a
think that-
gamer?
No.
You're not a gamer?
No.
Yeah, we know. I mean, again, all of these things are pointing to the fact that you're low testosterone.
Okay.
You're not a gamer. You fucking turned into a fucking communist, basically. Are you? When are you actually gonna come out as communist?
Oh, I'm not a communist, my dude.
I've had some information leaked to me about one of the new rules in Jordan Peterson's upcoming book. One of the new rules is going to be don't trust anyone who ever says, my dude.
I actually, I think that there's a lot of problems with capitalism, but I think that socialists are too quick to just say, oh, well, socialism is the answer, when I think that there are plenty of issues right now that could be solved under capitalism. I don't think, like, obliterating the entire economic system is a good move. And although capitalism has its problems, I mean, it's a statistical fact that, like, 70% of the wealth in America was earned and, like, not passed down, not given. That's impressive. That's incredible. And I think that that kind of ability is really only available under capitalism.
Okay, that's pretty reasonable, I guess.
So,
Okay, so do you think black people should get reparations then?
I don't think that black people should be getting reparations in the sense that, like, we just go and give black people a check. I think that's pretty dumb. Taking certain amount of money and, like, investing it into black areas to try and create more jobs and better, like, a better all-around area. If you want to call that reparations, then I guess I'd be in favor of that. But usually when people hear reparations, they think, oh, I'm going to just go up to some random black guy and give him a check, which is bullshit. Throwing money at the problem doesn't, like, fix it.
So are you okay with? So basically, what you're saying is you're okay with like the government giving people money based on their skin color? Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's a straw man, Beardson. You just took what he said and changed it into something stupider so you could easily knock it down. Look, I don't agree with Hunter on this either, but you have to engage with what he's actually saying, not a caricature of it.
I'm saying that some of these
Like
areas...
investing it in black communities?
Well,
like
it's
solely black communities. Is that what you're saying? So you're for racial segregation?
No. Well, how is this racial segregation? If anything, this policy would help alleviate racial segregation. What I'm in favor of is recognizing that America played a pretty large role in putting black people in the poverty where they are today.
False on many levels. It's the British Empire that brought slaves to America. Notably, they didn't bring them to Britain. America is the victim here. We had slavery imposed upon us by an evil empire. Black people in America today are also fortunate their ancestors ended up here. They now get to live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world. America doesn't owe black people shit.
And that now, because of that,
You think that's true?
it is true. And now, because of that, they aren't afforded the same rights. So
Wait, how do black people have less rights?
all I was saying is that because America played a pretty large role in putting black people where they are today, I think that investing in those areas to help them out of poverty is anything but a bad idea. And also that would not encourage racial segregation. Again, that would actually help it.
I mean, so you think that black people aren't capable of building wealth on their own then? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, not at all. I think that black people absolutely can build wealth on their own. And I think
And
that...
why do they need a government handout to do it?
Well, hold on. I absolutely think that's another benefit of capitalism, is that you really can start from the bottom and work your way up top. I think that a lot of the times black people, though, they have a harder time achieving those things simply because of the position that they're in. For example, black people are majority impoverished, right? And why is that? Well, it's because of previous systemic racist policies that we had that pushed black people into the communities where they still largely live today.
Hunter, we have people coming from China and Latin America who are literally penniless. They manage to send their kids to college and do just fine without government assistance. It's black people who are always trapped in this shitty violent culture. They're the ones who've been collecting welfare for generations. People need to stop defending black people all the time. A little bit of shame and public ridicule could really start turning things around for black.
Like what? Like what policy do you think was like the biggest contribution to that?
I mean, I think that redlining was one of them.
Okay.
I think redlining was a huge one. And even though redlining, for example, was done... You're familiar with redlining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though that was done away with, like, it's still been used. I think a redline map, the last time it was documented being used was like 2015. So...
That's a lie. The 1964 Civil Rights Act made redlining illegal. Point me to what neighborhood in 2015 were black people not allowed to buy a house? You're just spouting bullshit. It's been 60 fucking years. How long are we gonna use this as an excuse? In 200 years from now, are dipshits like Hunter still going to be talking about the redlining that happened in the 1950s?
there are definitely previous racist policies. I mean, this is just the belief that, like, actions have consequences, right? Like, I'm sure you would tell me that the Immigration Act of 1965 had a lot of negative consequences for the country. So yeah. I'm sure you could also argue that some of our policies we put on black people have a negative effect on black people today, right?
Yeah, affirmative action is a horrible policy that hurts blacks. The LBJ welfare programs trap black people in poverty. The Civil Rights Act creates a separate reality that black people live in, one that's disconnected from actual reality and causes systemic black failure. These are in fact the policies that have negatively impacted blacks.
I mean, we also have so many things that balance that out though too. I mean, there's diversity initiatives throughout every college, black scholarships, etc., and yet somehow these people cannot lift themselves out of poverty. Like, don't you see like there is something a little skewed towards black people, especially in the past 3 or 4 years, and yet somehow they still are not able to lift themselves out of the whole,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, you like, how much more do we have to give these people in order to fix their shit and get their shit together?
Lowering the standards for blacks only hurts them. Let's use law schools as an example. Blacks with low LSAT scores get accepted. They then fail out at higher rates. If they graduate, they'll be in the bottom of their class. They then fail the bar at a much higher rate than whites. If hired by a law firm through affirmative action, they'll be less likely to meet billable hours. They'll be more likely to fired for performance. And it just goes on and on. You can't inject fraud into the system and expect it to work out well for blacks.
Do you think that just like the majority of black people are just like lazy degenerates then?
No, I don't. I just think that we've given these people a lot. Like, what is the defining thing that's finally going to make black people get their shit together? We
really haven't. What we did is we had a lot of racist policies that forced black people into certain areas. So let me give you an example. Redlining, actually, no, I don't even think redlining is a good one. The neighborhood George Floyd grew up in, the reason that neighborhood was so goddamn poor and impoverished was actually because back in the day, there were only black, like, workers that were able to live there because they couldn't get any real job. They could only get menial jobs because of discrimination, which, as you can imagine, forced a large amount of black people and black families into certain poor communities.
This argument is bullshit. Let's take Phoenix, for example. Almost all the population growth occurred after the Civil Rights Act. In fact, the vast majority of growth happened after 1980. There was never redlining there. Phoenix never had policies that discriminated against blacks, yet they seem to have all the same problems they have in Phoenix that they do everywhere else.
Where they still live today. Like, people in George Floyd's neighborhood still are living in shotgun shacks that were erected in the 1920s. Like,
damn, that sucks. Like, maybe they should just like go to college with one of these free black scholarships and go get a fucking job.
well, I mean, it's
And
also
then, because
there's
it'd be
also
very easy to get a job since every major corporation has diversity quotas and et cetera that they have to meet.
I mean, you're
They
very,
really
very
hire black
actually
people
you're
over white
over
people.
you're
They
you're
have to.
really summarizing things in a cartoonishly like two-dimensional way. I mean, there have been studies that show that like black people are oftentimes denied jobs just for having a black name, even if they have the same qualifications.
Well, yeah, because if your name sounds fucking stupid, then people won't take you seriously. The study didn't use names you'd expect reasonable black people to have, like Michael Brown or Jacob Jones. Instead, they used names like LaQuisha or Rashawn.
So I agree that there are initiatives put in place, and that's good, but there's certainly more that needs to be done. Because, as I was saying,
how much? I mean,
Well,
how
hold on.
much? Like,
I'm
what's
explaining
what's
right
the
now.
end game? How much do we have to give black people in order for them to get their shit together?
well, I think that we can start 100% by investing in those areas because, like I already explained, a lot of those places are poor because of previous racist American policies. So by investing in those areas, we can have newer businesses open that can give people more opportunities for jobs. Another thing that needs to change is we need to stop funding the public schools with the taxes collected from that neighborhood, because that creates a vicious cycle where all the poor people get shit education and all the rich people get good education.
States that spend more on education don't get better outcomes. I think this really shows the bankruptcy of Hunter's worldview, why he seems to get absolutely everything wrong. He sees every problem in the world as being one in which science and economics can fix. That's why he can't wrap his head around why some people don't like fringe sexualities. It's why he doesn't understand that the problem with black people is largely a cultural one. You can throw all the money at blacks you want. It's not going to solve the underlying problem.
Black people are just lazy and they can't go and like get a job for themselves. But I acknowledge that black people have a much more challenging time getting a lot of the same, like anything really, even a job, like I just said with the studies. Like, black people definitely have a more challenging time.
Do you think immigration has played a part into black people declining into poverty?
Do you mean like because of welfare?
No, I mean like mass immigration, like, you know, from Mexico, et cetera, illegal immigration, et cetera. Do you think these things have harmed the black community?
Excuse me. Could you like give a little more clarification? Like, what do you mean harmed the black community? How? Economically?
I mean, yeah, economically, man. Like, as in, we import, you know, millions of people a year into this country, which makes the job market more competitive for them.
Well, I've heard that argument, and, you know, there's pretty much the opposite has been shown, that immigration is beneficial for the country, for the economy, and that it also, for the most part, rises people's wages.
Wages have been stagnant since the 1965 Immigration Act. Meanwhile, the cost of healthcare, housing, and education have skyrocketed. That's because the value of labor has collapsed in relationship to these things. Workers received their first ever rise in income in generations thanks to Trump's restrictions on immigration. It would be foolish to say that immigration hasn't hurt black people. It has been immensely harmful to all workers. Before mass immigration changed the landscape of our country, Americans could go to school with almost no debt and easily afford to buy a house. Owning a small business or franchise was something a middle-class person could aspire to. Today, you'd need more than $1 million to buy a chain franchise.
However, I do know what you're referring to, which is that with immigration, a very small percentage of high school dropouts may suffer a decrease in wages of approximately 2%, eventually coming down to 1.1%, which, again, this would be easily solved if we were also like investing in these areas and they had, you know, equal opportunities and thus far. So
yeah, buddy, in the little imaginary world that you live in, I guess that's true.
no, I don't actually think that immigration is affecting black people in any kind of like significant, noticeable way.
because I'm looking at a study right now, Hunter, that says this is from the National Bureau of Economic Research, by the way. I've got studies too. And it says our analysis suggests that 10% immigrant reduced increase in the supply of a particular skill group reduced the wage of black wage by 4%, lowered the employment rate of black men by 3.5 percentage points, and increased the incarceration rate of blacks by almost a full percentage point.
Could you send me that study?
Yeah, absolutely. Right there.
Let's take a
There
look.
you go.
Okay.
I'll give you a second to mull that over.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm also trying to find out if this is like a legit study. Let me go ahead and send you.
You know what's,
let me go ahead and send you my. Let me send you my counter data. Yeah.
You're a real funny guy. You're a real funny guy because whenever I question one of your studies, it's like it's infallible, and I'm just freaking out because I question one of your studies,
No,
and then I send you a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, and then you're like, "Well, hang on, guys, hang on."
Wait a second. Hold on. Stop.
This fucking study here.
No, wait. This came out.
Here.
Bro, this is old data. It's okay. There probably were negative effects, or this study was wrong. I don't know, but this was.
And then magically everything got better.
No, this came out in this came out in 2006. Like, we have way more updated studies that show the opposite of this.
Studies should tell us objective things about the world. They ought to be capable of being repeated with the same results. Unfortunately, though, most of our academia is biased nonsense. That's why we have a replication crisis. So here we've got a study that reached one conclusion. Hunter says he has a more recent one that reaches the opposite conclusion. If true, all that shows is that studies are bullshit. My method is much better. Is a worker better off in 1964 or today? In terms of the value of their labor compared to the cost of essential goods, the 1964 worker was much better off.
It's all.
Also, I have another.
With the wave of the wand, everything just got better, Hunter.
Wait a second. This comes from where? The National Bureau of Economic Research. National Bureau of Economic Research paper on the effects of immigration has on wages. Yeah, this is the one that found that their thing only dropped by 2% or 1.1%. So I don't know where the fuck you got this study for, dude. It's old.
I got it from the National Bureau of Economic Research.
I know.
That's where I got it from.
It's old.
Meanwhile, this guy's fucking citing like the New York Times.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Wait, stop. I just cited the exact same. I literally just cited the National Bureau of Economic Research.
Yeah, but so did Beardson. He literally read from the study. Hunter, you may have written a note saying immigration decreased wages by only 2%. That's not what you're debating, though. You're debating the effect on black people. You're also missing the larger point. Sure, the fact that immigration decreases wages by only 2% may seem trivial. What you fail to understand, though, is every year the cost of goods rises by 1.2%. The cost of education, housing, and healthcare have risen at significantly higher rates than this. The fact that worker wages are going down and not keeping pace with other things is a massive problem for the workers.
So why are you trying to discredit this one? Because it's 10 years old, right? 14 years old.
Yeah.
And then magically again, and then magically.
Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. I actually made a mistake, and I will acknowledge that. This is the same study.
Wow, what a hero.
Yeah, this is the same study, so I'm not sure why that one says that it was 4% when I'm looking through the entire PDF study right now, and it's clearly only 2%, and then it drops down to 1.1%. So, I mean, again, this kind of goes back to, like, even if, like, I feel like this is kind of a virtue signal, right? Because do you really care about black people getting wages?
No, not really. I care about me getting wages.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of more of an argument against immigration than it is an argument in favor of black people, right?
Let's say I oppose immigration. I'm talking to someone who wants the government to help black people. If I have a good argument that opposing immigration would help black people, doesn't it make sense for me to make that argument? That's not a virtue signal. It's having a productive conversation. People on the left are totally irrational. They're the ones that feel the need to constantly virtue signal. They're the ones who would never cut a deal that reduces immigration, even if they got something favorable out of it. It's just like when Trump became president. No one ever suggested cutting a deal with Trump to expand Medicare or build infrastructure in exchange for reducing immigration. Instead, Trump was always viewed as something that needed to be destroyed at any cost.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I want everybody to do well in this country, as long as long as they belong, they assimilate, and they
yeah.
do.
And
well
actually, I have some good data on that too about how immigrants are assimilating really, really greatly. Let me.
Oh, is that right? Is that
Yeah.
why when I go to Cicero in Chicago, it's nothing but like Spanish? Is that why you think they're assimilating up in Cicero in Chicago?
Oh, you think the world's round? I looked outside and it looked flat. That's how stupid you sound right now.
It is flat.
Okay. I'm assuming that's a joke.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, I think the world's round, but I mean, when you talk about the moon, that's a whole different thing. But I mean, no.
So do you honestly
do you call that assimilation when you go into a neighborhood and it's nothing but Spanish-speaking people and Spanish-speaking employees?
I mean, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can find. Hold on.
Do you think
I'm sure you can find a neighborhood where you're seeing like the difference because of immigrants there. But yeah, overall.
They're not assimilating.
Oh, that's a lie. Overall, the majority of immigrants are assimilating very well, actually. Like, here we go.
Hunter, that's a meaningless statement. Let's say 55% of immigrants come from countries that don't speak Spanish. The remaining 45% come from Latin America. If you don't speak English or Spanish, you have to assimilate. If you speak Spanish, though, you can get by without ever learning English. So yeah, a majority of immigrants may assimilate just fine. Nonetheless, you still have a huge problem in the US. The problem is with the Spanish speakers. Culturally, I have no problem with these people. I mean, I don't like how they join gangs and adopt black culture sometimes. Other than that, though, the primary issue is the language.
Let's see.
Yeah, they're assimilating so well that they're creating their own little colonies all across America and speaking their own language that the native people here can't speak. That sounds like assimilating to me.
Oh, here's another piece of data I just found really quick. Oh, goody. This one comes from
Goody? Come on,
Penn
man.
Wharton University of Pennsylvania.
Dude. Talk like an adult, dude.
The effects of immigration to the United States economy. This is a good one. Right here, an extensive summary showing that wage growth since the 1970s, it has little long-run effects on Americans' wages.
Again, Hunter, you don't have the right goalposts. American wages need to do more than just stay the same. They need to keep up with the cost of other goods. Clearly, they haven't. It would be absurd to suggest that mass immigration hasn't hurt workers. Hunter, you're literally reading neoliberal propaganda written with the intention of gaslighting people.
Well, that should be comforting for you, my dude. To know
Here's
that.
one. Here's another one for you. A record of 67.3 million speak a foreign language at home. Over 50% in 90 big cities and 59% in Los Angeles.
That doesn't mean they're not assimilating. That just means they're not.
Yes,
speaking.
they're not even speaking the language, man. Like they can't even
so
speak
what?
our native
Wait, you
language.
realize?
How are we
Wait.
supposed to communicate with
Yo,
these
you
people?
realize
How are we
that one of the
supposed to
qualifications.
integrate with these people if we can't even speak to them?
You realize that one of the qualifications for entering this country is being fluent in a language, not necessarily English.
Yeah, and that's terrible, and I totally disagree with that. They should be able to speak our native language here in America.
Hell yes.
All right. Well,
Have you ever
let me find this thing about assimilation here. Hold on.
Have you ever worked like a retail job?
Yeah, actually, that's what I worked before I started doing YouTube.
Yeah, I did when I was 18, and I worked at a Radio Shack actually. It's calling out my age here a little bit, and I would have Hispanics come in trying to buy prepaid phones, and I couldn't understand a fucking word they were saying. It was a fucking nightmare, and that's what you want to turn this country into.
No, I don't. I want
I
want to turn this country into what the data overall suggests, which is beneficial for our economy. Also, immigration, diversity has plenty of benefits. For one, even in like workforces, diversity has been shown to show a significant improvement in speed, in effectiveness, in creativity, everything. Diversity has great...
You're not listening, Hunter. Beardson hasn't received any of these advantages you're talking about. It's all corporate nonsense. It's irrelevant to us, the American workers. Beardsley just told you that as a worker, these people were nothing but a pain in the ass. When they'd show up at Radio Shack, you couldn't understand a fucking word they were saying. Now you can repeat all the corporate jargon that you want. That doesn't exchange the experience Beardson has as a worker dealing with mass immigration.
Diversity has great effects on our country. We still we have one of the most diverse countries, and we also are the world superpower. I fail to see how diversity is ruining our country.
Actually, we became the world superpower prior to mass immigration. Ever since World War II, we've been on a steady decline. We lost the Korean War, Vietnam was a disaster, Afghanistan has been the longest war in US history. We still haven't won that one. It's been forever since we landed someone on the moon. Hollywood now censors the American flag from the moon landing. That's so China can take credit. Our institutions don't have any credibility anymore. We can't can't even conduct fair elections. America's a raging dumpster fire at this point. You want to bring in more people from the third world during a pandemic, no less.
So everything kind of works out in the end. I think what this
No,
really
it
comes down to
doesn't.
is you don't want immigrants here, right?
That's correct. I think we should halt immigration.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it lowers wages. It has been the key, immigration has been the key cause in the separation between the GDP and wages. It's so simple. And the fact of the matter is, like, Hunter, all you're going to do is sit there and blindly read these studies without even questioning who's writing them, if they have any bias, if they have any agenda at all with writing these statistics, if they're trying to skew anything. And I've proven that. I proved that earlier with the Black Lives Matter study. All you do is read it at face value. You don't question anything. You call yourself a free thinker, and then all you do is go on fucking Reddit and read studies. And you don't question where the studies are, how the data is collected. You don't try to question sample sizes, anything like that. You just run blindly with it. I could sit here and fucking link you 20 studies, and you can sit here and link me 20 studies. And it's not going to change the fact that I'm right and you're wrong.
Nicely said. These studies are bullshit. The BLM one used news media as sources. These immigration ones just gaslight people. They act like wages is the relevant economic measure when it's not. It's the value of the wages related to other things. When you use that as the economic measure, it becomes real obvious that mass immigration has been a disaster for workers. After all, it's been the huge influx of people from the third world that's driven up the costs of our healthcare, housing, and education.
No, it's not going to change the fact that my studies are peer reviewed and yours are either misinterpretations or just
they're peer
Yeah.
reviewed, right? Yeah.
Hunter, that's not even true. Let's start with the BLM report. This was created by some leftist think tank and published on their website. It wasn't published in an academic journal. No peer review took place. What about the study from the National Bureau of Economic Research? Sounds real official and legit, right? Well, apparently that's just a working paper. The website specifically says, working papers aren't peer reviewed. What about that document he pulled up from University of Pennsylvania? It describes itself as a brief. It clearly isn't a study. It's only a couple pages long. It also doesn't appear to have been published in an academic journal, and there's no evidence it was peer reviewed. Hunter Avallone clearly has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't understand these studies. The studies that aren't even studies. They're just reports created by biased left-wing sources looking to mislead people. Hunter doesn't understand economics, and he doesn't understand academic research. Beardson, while not a fountain of knowledge, is able to rebut this nonsense with simple common sense. It's obvious Spanish-speaking people aren't assimilating. Ray Charles could see that BLM is violent. Only a moron wouldn't be able to realize that mass immigration has been bad for workers. So who won the debate? Well, I'd say I haven't seen such a clear winner since Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Hunter ought to take Beardson's advice and check his T levels. He can try this again once he's managed to grow an actual beard.
You are a fucking idiot. You are an idiot, and you are a disingenuous, lying piece of shit.
So
And
far, hold on.
I sincerely hope you go to the doctor. I sincerely hope you go to the doctor and check your fucking testosterone levels. And I hope you just stop sucking that vouch cock. I really do. I really do. It's not going to be good for you. He's a pedophile, and you should be careful.
Again, the prosecution channel supports a traditional American Christmas. If you support Christmas, please support this small YouTube channel by subscribing. Thanks.